اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا آباءكم وإخوانكم أولياء إن استحبوا الكفر على الإيمان ومن يتولهم منكم فأولئك هم الظالمون قل إن كان آباؤكم وأبناؤكم وإخوانكم وأزواجكم وعشيرتكم وأموال اقترفتموها وتجارة تخشون كسادها ومساكن ترضونها أحب إليكم من الله ورسوله وجهاد في سبيله فتربصوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره والله لا يهدي القوم الفاسقين صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Surah Taubah, two very famous ayat. The first verse that we recited gives us a principle where everywhere in the Quran there is mention of maintaining the ties of kinship and fulfilling the rights of your relatives and maintaining good relations with them, taking care of them and not severing ties, or the punishment or the bad outcome of severing ties and not taking care of your relatives is mentioned. This ayah lays down the principle that all relationships are secondary to one's relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So if there is your parents, your children, your brothers, your spouses, or any of your relatives, if they prefer kufr over iman, then a person is supposed to sever ties with them, and the only relationship that is going to be maintained is forever at the cost of all other relationships, the relationship of one with Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O people who have believed, la tattakhidhu aba'akum wa ikhwanakum, don't take your fathers or your brothers awliya as your friends, in istahabbul kufra ala al-iman, if they prefer kufr over iman, infidelity, lack of belief over faith. وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّهُمْ مِنْكُمْ, and those of you who have friendship with them, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ, they are among the wrongdoers, they are the wrongdoers. So when the Sahaba, they believed in Allah, in the oneness of Allah, and brought faith in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they were commanded to leave their houses and migrate with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this became a sign of iman. If somebody would migrate, they would be considered a mu'min, a believer. If they did not migrate, they would be considered a kafir. So their ties, their relationship, all of those things are very hard for one to give up. But when the time comes when they prefer kufr over iman, then this relationship will also be severed and one would uphold their ties with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To further fortify this point, قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ آبَاؤُكُمْ وَأَبْنَاؤُكُمْ وَإِخْوَانُكُمْ وَأَزْوَاجُكُمْ وَعَشِيرَتُكُمْ, from among the people, tell them, the Prophet ﷺ is being commanded to say to the people, if your fathers and your sons and your brothers and your spouses and your clan, your qabila, ashiratukum, then from among the other material things, وَأَمْوَالٌ اقْتَرَفْتُمُوهَا, the wealth that you have earned, وَتِجَارَةٌ تَخْشَوْنَ كَسَادَهَا, and the business or the trade that you apprehend will recede, which means that you تَخْشَوْنَ كَسَادَهَا, that you are afraid that it will take a loss or it will recede, become less. وَمَسَاكِنُ تَرْضَوْنَهَا, and the houses that you have built that are very dear to you, أَحَبَّ إِلَيْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, if they are more beloved to you, any of these, in comparison to Allah and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَجِهَادٍ فِي سَبِيلِهِ, and struggling in the path of Allah, jihad in the path of Allah. فَتَرَبَّصُوا, then wait, حَتَّى يَأْتِيَ اللَّهُ بِأَمْرِهِ, until Allah comes with His command. Wallahu la yahdi al-qawm al-fasiqeen. Allah does not lead the sinning people to the right path. So there's a few things that we learned from these 4 or 5 ayat that we did yesterday and today. Some ma'arif will revise and some are new today. The first thing to understand is that Iman is at the core and the spirit of all good deeds. Without Iman, nothing matters. If somebody has Iman, everything becomes worthwhile. Even the tiniest of their deeds, even removing a stone from the path of someone, becomes full of reward. Those people who have not brought faith, if they do anything good, Allah is not unjust, Allah is not cruel. Allah rewards them in this world with peace and comfort. So if the kuffar do good, they have no reward in the hereafter, they have no chance in the hereafter if they die on kufr, but their life becomes comfortable. The second thing is that all deeds have their own place. Some deeds are superior to others, and this keeps on changing depending on the situation. So at the time of Salah, for example, the Prophet ﷺ has said that there is nothing more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than Salah. Similarly, in the days of sacrifice, there is nothing more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than shedding the blood of the animal. So these things we have been reading, so it should be kept in mind, this concept should be made clear, that things, good deeds, even good deeds, they have their importance depending on the situation and their reward. Then today what we read, the first thing that we already mentioned, that relationships have to be severed if they become a hindrance in the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or in our iman or our love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This ayah, قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ آبَاؤُكُمْ وَأَبْنَاؤُكُمْ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gone in detail to mention all those things that become more beloved to us and make us choose the path of disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our family, our people, our wealth that we have gathered, our work, and our houses, these things make us go against the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is a requisite of Iman that our love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more than all of these things. And how will it be shown? The test is that do we prefer the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or do we prefer the demand of these things? Now it should be understood that love is something which is in the heart. Love is something which is in the heart. And Mufassirin have gone in detail discussing that this ayah is such that even the most pious people, even the top-notch Muslims who are teaching others, even they are not free from the itab, or they are also in the line of fire of this ayah, that the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to be more than anything else. And this is very hard. This is very hard. So there is a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned it and has shown the manifestations of it. Man ahabba lillah wa abghada lillah. Whoever loves for Allah and makes friends for Allah and has enemies because of Allah. وَمَنْ أَعْطَى لِلَّهِ وَمَنْ مَنَعَ لِلَّهِ. Whoever gives for Allah and withholds for Allah under the command of Allah, فَقَدْ اسْتَكْمَلَ الْإِيمَانِ, then those are the ones who have completed the Iman. So these are the manifestations of who we love more. Whatever we are doing, are we upholding the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not? If we are upholding the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and staying away from disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there it is proof that we love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more. If we are foregoing the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our love of these things or listening to these things, then it is clear that our Iman is not perfect. Now ulama have also discussed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not burden a soul with things that it cannot carry. So this love refers to intellectual love, which means that when I think about it, whatever is in my heart, I do not have control over it. But when I sit down and think about it, or when I'm trying to do something and I'm weighing the benefits and harms of something, which we always do, then I will force myself to follow the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only this level of love is enough to say that my love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more. Intellectual love, that when it comes to action, who do I prefer? In my heart, the way to change your heart is, it all comes down to the kind of company that you keep. Whatever kind of company you, your children, your family, your wife, your parents, be them young, be a young Muslim, be it an old Muslim, a man is defined by the kind of company they keep. Whatever is in the heart, that is what is their company is like. So if they socialize with people who love Allah more than anything else, slowly and gradually within their heart, this love will trickle down to their heart, and they will by nature start to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more, and obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will become easy. If we choose our company in such a way that we establish ties and live and spend our days and spend our free time or our busy time with people who do not care about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their life, or do not care about deen in their life, then what is going to happen? That we will be defined by those people. Our heart will be after those people, what their heart is like. Therefore, our tabai or our natures or our hearts, they become intermingled. They have this, we cannot control it. So the way to control it is to choose good company, for everyone. So inshallah, this is what the ulama have mentioned under this ayah, that keeping good company would create natural love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and intense love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from within us. But as long as that happens, intellectual love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam more than anything and everything else is going to suffice for inshallah our freedom and our salvation. The other thing is Wallahu la yahdil qawm al-fasiqeen at the end of this ayah, and the other Wallahu la yahdil qawm al-zalimin, ayah 19. These both point out that wrongdoings, disobedience messes up our mind. What happens is that if somebody is used to transgression, to disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their thinking capacity, their right sanity is taken away from them. So the difference between good and bad, the distinguishing capacity is taken away from them. Wallahu la yahdil qawm al-zalimin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not lead the wrongdoers on the right path. Wallahu la yahdil qawm al-fasiqeen. Allah does not lead the major sinners, the fusaq, on the right path. On the contrary, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in tattaqullaha yaj'al lakum furqana. If you fear Allah, which means that you listen to Allah, Allah will give you that capacity in your mind and your heart that you will be able to tell the right from wrong. You will be your nature will become sound, salim. It will develop that skill from within itself to know the right from wrong and to act on the right and to stay away from the wrong. Allahumma ja'alna min ahli al-Qur'an alladhi ahluka wa khassatuk. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas sami'ul alim wa tub alayna innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqihi sayyidina wa lana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amin bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.